been a little while since we sat down and I just talked a little bit and didn't have a specific subject matter or problem with a 3D printer or something like that to talk about. I notice there's a lot of talk on the news and everything about AI, artificial intelligence. It's a big deal. I'm somewhat familiar with AI myself. As a matter of fact, in the late 1980s, about 1988 and 1989, somewhere in that time period, that was when I was in the computer field and doing a lot of different things with computer systems. The manufacturing company that I worked for was a very large automotive supplier, and we were getting into a lot of new areas. Just-in-time delivery, JIT was the big thing. Our production lines varied quite a bit because some production lines could make only a certain series of parts. Other production lines could produce other series of parts, and some could be mixed and so forth. And scheduling was a very complex part of the business because a lot of things happened. You could set up a schedule for the plant, the entire plant, all of the different lines, to produce certain parts to meet shipping goals. And it was very important that you met those shipping goals, because with the just-in-time thing, if you didn't get those parts to the automotive assembly plant, you could shut down an entire automotive assembly line. And the automakers, GM and Ford, Chrysler, Nissan, we supplied all these guys, and we could shut down their lines because all of the cars had our parts on them. So I came up with the idea. I knew a little bit about AI back then and how it was supposed to work. And the main thing back then was AI, artificial intelligence, was to collect all the possible data you could collect and make it accessible for decision making. And in our case, we had to consider the orders, when we would have to ship to get them to the plant just in time, and how far in advance we needed to start making those parts to build enough inventory to put on rail cars or on trucks to go north to these assembly plants. You set up a schedule, and then all of a sudden something happens and there's a problem, and you have to stop production on it and fix that problem. And then when you start back up, you're behind schedule on that, and you've got another part scheduled behind it. Okay, that part now is going to be late, so you have to reschedule all the things, reshuffle the cards, and lay out a whole new schedule. It carries over to other lines, and so it was a very complex process. And I thought, these guys that do this, they do it the best they can, but we still end up with either excess inventory, not getting enough inventory to the customer when they need it, or sometimes being late and really being chastised for that. Part of the philosophy was not to run our plant just in time, but to try to run it ahead of schedule, try to build up inventory. And the more inventory you build up, it gives you more of a buffer for problems and scheduling, so your scheduling doesn't have to be that efficient. But it costs you a lot of money to have all that inventory sitting for a couple of weeks before it ships. That's a tremendous cost. So it would really benefit us if we could cut that window down by being able to manage different problems in the production schedule. So, okay, I'm a pretty smart fella back then, I thought. I've written all these different programs, set up all kinds of systems for the company. I think I can do something with this. And I started working on it. And I worked and worked and finally had to give up for a couple of reasons. One, it was just too much. There was just too much data. There were too many possibilities. And you had to program in every scenario, every possible combination of things that you could do to produce parts in every possible quantity, because you never knew what the order quantity was going to be. And when you run these lines for shifts, you have to retool to change to different parts. So there's a retooling time period that shuts down the lines, and that costs money. All of those variables, there were just too many of them. Plus, the computers we had back in the late 80s and early 90s just did not have the capacity and the speed to access that much data and store that much data. And after working on it for quite a while and trying to figure things out, I came to that conclusion and had to give up. Okay, today, fast forward. Now we've got these computers, and it's not just the computers that are in these large institutions, but your laptop computers, your business computers. They're so powerful now, and the memory access, I've been purchasing a lot of these SSD drives. They're small compact drives, 1, 2, 4 terabytes, and I'm talking about terabyte. We didn't even know what a gigabyte was back in the late 80s. We thought megabytes were the big thing then. Nowadays, megabytes are nothing. Gigabytes are the big thing, but they're kind of fading away and giving way to terabytes. With all the memory that we have now and the speed that you can access it with, all solid state memory, these SSD drives I can plug them into the USB port on my computer. I use them for backup because I can back up faster to that than I can a thumb drive or something else. I can just stick them in there and back up a whole folder or a whole file system or even a whole disk. All that capacity gives us the capability now to run AI programs on our individual computers. To do that, you have to have information, and the AI program is only going to be as good as the information that you put into it. The same as my scheduling system. If I put in that I could make 500 of these parts per hour on this particular assembly line, and in reality I could only make 400, then that would be bad information. And the scheduler would create bad schedules, and I'd end up not having enough parts sent to the assembly line, and it would shut them down. What I'm saying is that any AI program is only as good as the instructions and the algorithms and stuff that run it, and the information that it's using to make those intelligent decisions. With all I've heard about it, I'm very skeptical myself on how it can be used, and they talk a lot about how it could be misused. There's a lot of opportunity for misuse of it. The cell phones, it's great that you can call anywhere in the country or anywhere in the world on your cell phone. The bad thing about it is I get sometimes 30 or more email messages, unsolicited, junk spam. I get spam calls, I get spam texts, all this stuff. 40 years ago, I had a little rotary phone at home. Maybe I had a push button by then, I don't know. But the phone, whenever it rang, it was 99.9% of the time it was someone wanting to talk to you, and you would answer that phone. And when you went to your mailbox you weren't flooded with junk mail. You did get some back then. Other than that, you weren't bothered with all this stuff. The technologies that we have now create the opportunity for people to robocall anybody about anything, send out mass emails and stuff, and sometimes I look at my email list and I'll have the same identical email sent like 4 or 5 consecutive times. Each time it's frustrating. It's just something else I have to delete. And when the text messages come in, you can get the same text message or voicemail message multiple times, but it's always a different number. And every once in a while I have someone calling my phone and leaving a message wanting to know why I called them. And in fact, I didn't call them. My number just came up on the random numbers that these companies use to mask their true ID. And I think something needs to be done about that. I think they're going to have to be able to clean that up, because technology is just starting to get too frustrating sometimes with all the junk going on. And AI is going to be the same thing. A lot of people are going to be coming up with ways to use it in the wrong way, and that's going to be a little overbearing, I believe. But I do see a lot of hope for this whole AI concept. I see a lot of possibilities where it can help businesses and it can help manage inventories and things like that. In my opinion, there are already a lot of forms of AI out there. It's not like AI just came out of nowhere and here's AI. No, the computers had to come first. The technology for the memories and everything, the internet, accessibility, all of these things are the building blocks for the AI programs that they're creating now. A very simple AI program is on your Google Maps. I mean, when you go to your map and you say you want to go from here to there, it can figure out the best route or multiple routes and give you options on the time it would take to go one route versus the other, and how many miles it would be, and so forth. That takes some intelligence to do those calculations in a fraction of a second and display them on your cell phone. Those are the kind of things that are beneficial for us, using the GPS coordinates to direct us to our destination and so forth. All of these are a form of intelligence that's being created and available to us. So just think of these new, more powerful AI programs being able to go beyond that and actually access enough data and information to do additional things. You tell it that you want to go on this trip, then it starts telling you all kinds of stuff. Oh, while you're going through Kansas City, you might want to divert 20 miles. It'll only take you about 30 minutes to go over here and eat at this restaurant that has the best lobster bisque soup in the world, and you won't want to miss that. That's what intelligence is, and artificial intelligence. It's actually thinking for you, and sometimes it can go off on a tangent on its own and just give you ideas without you actually asking where's the best lobster bisque soup in the country. If I put all this stuff on a video and post it, you guys will probably think I'm crazy, so I'm going to have to do some editing here. I can't believe I've gotten so far off track. AI, lobster bisque soup, snowmobiling in Montana. what kind of a video. Bear with me. I did some videos. I had a lot of people commenting on YouTube about being new to 3D printing and so forth. So I did some videos. Didn't seem to be as much interest in those as I thought there might be. So I'm going to veer away a little bit from some of those instructional type videos. And I'm going to do a few of these in a row where you don't know what you're going to get. We'll call them AI videos or KI videos, Ken Intelligence, which means that they could be really stupid or whatever, but they are what they are. Like I said, I'm going to be doing some different things like I have for about the past month, and I'll work on a few of these projects I talked about, and I'll keep you informed on how those go. I like coming up with new ideas and stuff, but also some of this off-the-wall stuff that I'm doing out here. So that's about it for now. Like I said, I'll grab the camera and I'll show you some of these things I've been working on, talk a little bit about them, and just give you some random information about what's going on around here besides printing parts and assembling parts, expanding this facility, creating the manufacturing capability that I have here. So you've seen all of that many times in different stages. So now I figure maybe it's time for something a little different. Well, I think that just about wraps it up for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoy the videos, subscribe, give me a like, let me know in a comment what you think or what you would like to see more of, and we'll try to work that in. So until the next time, happy printing from NewTek Inventors.